Would you believe me if I told you that this is what my makeup looked like at 7 a.m. after getting home from the clubs? And I'm about to give you guys the full tutorial, the Innasya Glam tutorial that I know I've been saying to share with you guys for so long, but it's finally here. So this is my makeup routine. Skin prep is so super important. My favorite combination at the moment is the Hourglass Veil Mineral Primer and the Benefit Professional Super Setter. Not only is this going to play a huge part in keeping your glam on, but it's also going to create a lovely, nice and smooth and prepped base for your makeup to sit on. For everyday wear, I do not do this, but when I'm going out and need my makeup to look absolutely flawless, I always color correct. I use the Huda Beauty color corrector in the shade Cherry Blossom. I put this anywhere that I have dark spots. So under my eyes, a little bit on my eyelids, next to my nose and next to my mouth. And I like to pat this in with a little brush. Anastasia Beverly Hills has been my go-to brow brand since I started makeup. I used to use the Dip Brow all the time, but I've recently gotten one of their brow pencils, which I absolutely love. I like to start underneath my brow at my tail and just kind of fill it in. When I pluck my brows, I pluck more at my tail because I find it easier to do my eyebrows when I have less hair to work with at the end of my brow. It's super important to not go too heavy-handed at the front of the brow because otherwise your brows will look blocky and that's not what we want. This tip I learned so many years ago from Makeup by Ariel or Makeup by Mario or someone. Carving out your brows, carve out the bottom of your brows with concealer and the top with foundation. This just helps everything blend more seamlessly into your face so you don't have like this highlighted area around your brows. Once my brows are filled in and carved out, then I'll go in with my brow gel, again using ABH, and I'll just put a little bit in there just to keep them in place throughout the night. Over the years, I've tried a few eyeshadow bases. I do love the P. Louise eyeshadow base. I think it's really good, but at the moment I'm just using the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, and then I set it, goodness me, and then I set it with my Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Brightening Powder. I used to sell the P. Louise eyeshadow base in Morphe, and when I lived in Melbourne and there was a Morphe store there, I used to go and get it all the time. I ended up stopping stocking it in Morphe anyway, so I don't really know why. I have a few different eyeshadow routines that I switch between. For the sake of today's video, we'll recreate the eyeshadow look that I did on Saturday. Starting with NYX, the Ultimate Warm Neutrals palette. I believe I used this shade, and we're going to focus that on the outer corner and then bring it into the crease. Always hold your makeup brushes at the end of the brush. You want to go in with a light hand so it'll blend out easier. Holding your brush here, you're going in with like much heavier hand and it's not going to look as blended and gorgeous. Smaller brush, I'm going to go in with this shade right here, focusing this on the outer corner. We're always blending up and then a little bit into the crease. Personally, I wish I had more rounder eyes, so what I try to do with my makeup is kind of shape shift a little bit, make my eyes appear more round. Next, I'm going to take this palette from Flower Nose. It is the Terracotta Brick palette. Little brush, dipping it in the lightest shade, and this is going on my lid. Sometimes I will put concealer down first and do like a half cut crease. The eyeshadow is pretty pigmented, so I don't necessarily need to. Grab the first brush and just do a light little blend. Now for some black eyeliner, using the Urban Decay 24/7 Glide On eye pencil. I'm basically just lining my whole eye in black. For a little bit, I was scared of black in my waterline because I used to do the darkest, most like intense black liner when I was like 16, and I look back at those photos and go, someone take the eyeliner pencil away from her please. So for a little bit there, I was really scared of black in my waterline, but I'm back to loving it. So I finally realized how much is too much. Grabbing my eyeliner, I love the Flower Nose eyeliners because they are so thin tip, like look how perfect that is, and it's perfect for lining my inner corner. I only really line about until halfway because then Makeup by Mario Master Mattes palette, and it's very well loved as you can see. A small brush, grabbing the black, and we're going to create a shadow wing. Obviously a little bit messy, so we're going to go in and clean it up with concealer. Ready for my brush, it's right here. And it's time for lashes. My go-to lashes are the Lash Bar lashes in the shade Wavy and Honey Love. These ones have been well loved. So last weekend I used the Eyelure Dramatic lashes, which I actually did cut quite a bit off them because I wanted to have more of like a half lash look to give more of that like cat eye effect. I use the Duo Lash Glue. It's my absolute favorite. While I let them sit and the glue get tacky, I apply my mascara. I feel like because it does take me so long to do my makeup, and especially every day takes me so long to do my makeup, I found a few little ways to like multitask while I'm doing my glam to get things done just a little bit quicker. Nude by Nature Absolute Volumizing Mascara is my favorite mascara in the world. It is so incredibly good. If you're someone who struggles to put their lashes on, use a pair of tweezers. It is so much easier, and get yourself a little hand mirror so you can see up close what you're doing. Now that the eyes are done, let's move on to the base. The Fenty Beauty Pro Filter Soft Matte Longwear Foundation has been my favorite foundation for years. But I will say I am currently obsessed with the Benefit Professional Foundation. there is something in this that is magical and makes my skin glow. I pump a few pumps on the back of my hand, work it into my brush, and then just tap it in. Now to blend it into my skin and really make it look like a second skin, and then go in with my beauty blender. The beauty blenders, I know it's so silly that they're $30 for a sponge, but also like they're worth it. Like, I'm sorry, but they are worth it. Once I've like applied the foundation to my whole face, I'll go in with my beauty blender to really melt it into the skin. This is a kind of funny tip, but I do find that my makeup looks better when I do my glam in a dark room with my Hollywood lights on. I don't know what it is, something about the lighting that makes my makeup look better. Makes me be able to see better, maybe, to like make sure everything's blended. I don't know. We're concealing with the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer on the chin, nose, and forehead. Once the concealer is applied, I'm gonna go in with my setting spray and give it a little spritz. Now we're gonna let that sit while we brighten the under eyes with the Rare Beauty Under Eye Brightener. This is my favorite thing ever. I love a bright under eye. This also has a metal applicator as well, so it's cooling. So it feels really nice, kind of does a little bit of depuffing. And I blend it in with the little brush that I bought it with. I actually almost became a makeup artist. I got my makeup artistry certificate when I was 16 and pretty much started setting up my business to become a makeup artist. And then I just realized that makeup wasn't my biggest passion, fashion was, and I wanted to work in fashion rather than makeup. I've been wearing makeup since I was like 4 years old because I grew up dancing. I started wearing makeup every day when I was like in year 7, I think. So I would have been like 11, 12 years old. I love that my mum never restricted me from wearing makeup. I mean, obviously she was like, you're not wearing red lipstick to a party at 8 years old, but otherwise, like, she really did let me just have fun with it and express myself through my glam, and I just love that so much, and it's definitely something I will do with my kids too. I think also because there wasn't like me wearing makeup wasn't such a big thing that my mum was like, oh my goodness, why are you wearing makeup? I personally think had a really positive impact on my mental health and like my self-esteem, especially when it came to makeup, because my mum was never like, you need to wear makeup or you need to not wear makeup kind of thing. Like, it just wasn't a big deal. So therefore it was never a big deal in my head. The contour, we're going in with the Milk Contour Stick. This is in the shade Espresso. Very well loved. I probably need a new one. I swear I go back and forth all the time on which brush, oh my goodness, there's a hair on my brush, on which brush I want to use for my contour. Sometimes I like a more dense brush. Sometimes I like a fluffier brush to make it look a little bit more natural. At the moment, this brush has been my go-to. I'm not even sure where this brush is from. I try to focus this just above my cheekbone. Is that right? Always blending up to lift the face. I also pop this under my jawline. I also never really like to apply any products directly to my face, excluding concealer and under eye brightener, obviously. But everything else I like to put on a brush or the back of my hand first. To blend in my concealer, I go in with my beauty blender. With my chin, I kind of bring it up underneath where we just contour, just to give myself a little bit more definition. I don't apply concealer right there because I find that can be too harsh. We don't want like a harsh line on our cheek. Now for concealer under the eyes. Concealer placement is very important depending on how you want your face to look. Pop a little bit in my inner corner and then I go up this way. This is gonna lift the face. Same thing on the other side. And I like to just put a little bit here. You don't want to do too much concealer. I mean, I'm sure we all remember the days of the 2016 like triangle under our eyes concealer. That putting that much concealer and putting it in that placement like right here is going to drag down the face, and we want to be lifted and sculpted and snatched. Once again, we're grabbing our setting spray and setting the concealer and letting it sit. I find that this makes the concealer just that little bit more full coverage, which makes it blend out more seamlessly and airbrush. Continuing our contour just across the top of my forehead. There are specific ways to contour your face depending on your face shape, and a quick little Google search will tell you exactly how and where you should be placing your contour for your specific face shape. I will say, if there is one place when it comes to makeup where I am not the expert, it's nose contour. I just grab a little brush. I kind of just follow my natural nose shape and just bring it in a little bit at the bridge. And I guess I do know what I'm doing, but I will say, compared to the girlies who do the full like contour and bake and conceal and everything like that, is not me, because I do not know how to do that. Just follow the natural shape of my nose, kind of bring it up to my brows and into my eyeshadow a little bit, and then just a little bit across the top there to give it more of that button nose effect. If I ever feel like it's not really blended perfectly, I just go in with my beauty blender and I kind of blends it out for me. The other thing I love to do while I have this little brush is put a little bit of contour right under my lip. I find that it makes my lips look a little bit bigger. I'm blending in the concealer with a beauty blender. If you do want your concealer to be more full coverage, I would recommend blending it half in with a brush and then blending the rest in with concealer. That is what I do sometimes, but I don't know where my concealer brush is at the moment. I think it's actually fallen behind my vanity. I need to get that at some point. When you're blending out your concealer, make sure that you're blending it out where you placed it, because if you placed it up here and then you're going to start blending it down here, that's going to like undo everything we just did. Make sure you were blending and keeping it in the same spot that you applied it. Do you want to know what my all-time favorite makeup product is at the moment? This cream blush from Charlotte Tilbury. Oh my god, I don't think I've ever been more in love with a makeup product. I apply it with a brush. I also like to apply it on top of my powder blush once we're done the glam. It's just so pretty. My blush placement, I'm also focusing it on like the high points of my cheeks because I like that like snatched face look. And it's time to set the face. My all-time favorite powder, which I am currently out of and need a new one, is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Finish, but as you just saw, I'm out. So instead I'm going to use the Flower Nose Tawny Tea palette. I find that this powder is kind of very similar to the Charlotte Tilbury one, and this palette is a little bit more affordable. This is my powder brush from Morphe. I couldn't tell you which brush it is because I use it every day and the label's scratched off. Just reblending under my eyes so we're not setting any creases in. Loading up my brush with powder and then just patting it under the eyes. I find that with powder, patting is the way to go. The second you start swiping, you start moving makeup underneath, and that's the last thing we want to do. I just do this all over my face, honestly. I do not understand how some people do not use powder. If I do not use powder, one swipe and my whole face is gone. This is what keeps my makeup on for 18 plus hours. I actually cannot believe how good my makeup still looked. Obviously it wasn't perfect because I've been wearing it for 18 hours, but when I got home on Saturday and my face was like basically perfect, I was like, what? This is a joke. Like, are you kidding? Huda Beauty pound cake. It's the best. And look, I have a little mini one. It's so cute. I popped a little bit in the lid and then I grabbed my powder puff, pat off the excess on the back of your hand. I find that actually baking like I used to bake back in the day makes my under eyes look really dry. I feel like it almost ages me. I always make sure to set my smile lines because they are the first things to crease for me. So tapping off that excess powder on the back of my hand, I'm still baking, but I'm not baking to the extremes like I used to. That it makes a big difference. Now we're gonna let that sit for a little bit while we do our bronzer. I've been using the Benefit Hoola bronzer at the moment in the shade Light. It's absolutely incredible. This brush, angled brush from Sephora that I got like probably 10 years ago, but it's okay. And again, we're patting it into the skin, and I just put it in every place that I put my contour. On my nose and under my lip, I get a smaller angled brush, and I guess for this I do kind of swipe, but just putting it in the same places that I put the cream contour and blending it up into my eyeshadow a little bit. I used to do like full carve out underneath my contour. I don't really anymore. I just kind of grab a little bit of powder and sculpt my nose and cheek contour. Now time to wipe off the bake from underneath our eyes. And I love to stain my lips when I go out. And when I'm eating and drinking and my lipstick starts to come off, it is less noticeable. I've tried quite a few lip stains this year, and I will say one of my favorites is the NYX Lip IV. This is gonna stay on while we do the rest of the glam, and then we'll wipe it off. Going in with our third and final powder, the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Brightening Powder on the same brush, and just patting that under my eyes, bringing it down to my smile lines, my chin, a little bit on the nose and in between my brows. I can also wipe off that bake from underneath now and off the nose too. Finishing off the eyes, I like to grab a little brush like this. I'm gonna dip it in the first shade that we used and just pop that under the eye. I genuinely do not understand how people do not do under eye eyeshadow and mascara. It completes the look. On a smaller brush, I'm going to go in with the darker shade that we used and pop that even closer to my lash line. And I'm going to go in with the brush that we used for the black, and with only what's left on the brush, put that right underneath and close to my lash line. Going in with my brightening powder again with the little brush we used on the lid, just grabbing a little bit. I'm just going to pop that in the inner corner just to brighten it up a little. And now it's time for blush, my favorite part. We're going to use two blushes. I recently got this NYX Wednesday collection and I love this blush shade. It is so beautiful, and you honestly don't need that much of it because it is very pigmented. Blending up and on the high points of my cheeks to not drag the face down. How gorgeous is that? Then I'm going to go in with a little bit of my Flower Nose blush. This shade is also so gorgeous, and just pop a little bit of that on top and kind of bring that shade more closer to my cheeks. I also just like to put a little bit on my nose because I think it looks cute. And like I said before, I like to go on top with my cream blush. Just a little bit, like sometimes I don't even dip in it. I just use what's left on the brush. I swear blush just like brings life back to my face. For my under eye mascara, I use the Swede Pro Lash Mascara because this wand is very small, which I find perfect for applying just the right amount of product on my bottom lashes and not applying too much to make it look clumpy. Now, I'm not really the biggest fan of highlighter. I can't actually remember if I even put any on Saturday night. Just for the sake of completing a full routine, I guess we'll do a little bit of highlighter. I grab a tiny little brush, just a little bit, apply it right in the high points of my cheeks and on the tip of my nose. I need to go wash my hands because I feel claustrophobic when I have makeup on my hands. I love the Kylie Cosmetics plumping lip liners. I'm lining right underneath the lip. I like to really define my cupid's bow, but where I don't overline is the sides. I just follow the shape. I feel like this helps me have like a more pouty kind of little smile, and I like it. The lipstick I was wearing on Saturday night is the Clinique Black Honey. There's one thing I can never leave the house without, it's my lipstick. Now we set once again using the Benefit Professional Super Setter. And voila, that's the glam. I've been meaning to do this video for so long. I'm sorry to keep you guys waiting for ages, but I've always wanted to do it on YouTube because I knew that it would be such a longer video because it takes me an hour and a half to do my makeup. This is the makeup. Let me know if you try it. Please tag me on Instagram or TikTok if you try my routine. I do feel like the real test of true flawless makeup though is back camera up close. So here you go. Here's my proof that my glam really is 100% flawless and airbrushed. After years, I can confidently say that I think that I have mastered my makeup routine. I love you, honeys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and more YouTube content coming soon. I promise. I promise.